on the outskirts.
Same as bullying. It's like, I remember somebody, like, everybody's like, oh, I was so bullied as a kid. And then I was like, so was I. But is everybody bullied? And it's just what we do with it? I guess there's going to be people that get bullied more.
Yeah, there's for sure people that
and then having
traumatic.
kids now, having kids, like having adult kids in school, you can see, and you're like, that kid, he almost brings it on. And you never want to say that. But it's like, if you just didn't do this, then people might not pick on you.
Thanks. So you're just telling me that.
No. I was not I totally forgot that we were talking about you. Did you get picked on a lot? I felt I did. But then maybe everybody feels that way.
So the problem is, I really only picked up on, like, my own feelings of not fitting in and, like, not feeling part of. I wouldn't have picked up on the good stuff that was happening.
I know. And I'm like that. My parents were so bad. And they were so, like, demanding, and they always made me do homework, and I would, like, cry
when you
doing
talk about
homework and how bad my parents were.
Like, when people talk about the poor little old me syndrome, the moms, like, I'm like, why? That was literally me my entire life.
I know. And I think maybe that's human nature, is we focus on all the bad things. I know that there's a lot of bad things that have happened. But I like, even I look back at my parents' parenting, and it's like, oh, they were just always like pushing me harder, and like I had learning disabilities. But then I remember my dad would come home, on a trip in Indonesia, and he would always bring books. And then he would read books to us by the hour. He read the whole trilogy of Lord of the Rings and all the C.S. Lewis books.
I know.
So, but I think I tend to remember the bad stuff. And then by the time I got to grade 10, I felt like I didn't fit in, I didn't belong, and then I had alcohol, and wow, that changed everything. Nice, warm, comforting glow.
I had a few really good friends, but one at a time. And as an adult, you find out that, like, if you've had a couple of those, like, really good friends at any point in your life, that you're actually, like, that's really rare. And
I feel like you had a lot of friends,
It's a treasure. And so, yeah, like, I
feel like you had friends. I feel like I didn't really have that many friends.
You moved a lot. I lived in the same
I moved
place.
A lot.
Yeah.
And then addiction and
once.
That changed lots of things.
Yeah, so I definitely, like, and I was talking elementary school when you first said that.
Yeah.
But older, like, after elementary school, I always had a good friend.
A BFF?
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Oh, I really did. At least one, if not more.
Are we on the 11th? I have the 11th open. I haven't really. It is. That didn't help me. It is the 11th.
No, I know it is.
Oh, okay. You're already on the double. Good for you. Moving forward. As much as we would like, we cannot bring everyone with us on this journey called recovery. We are not being disloyal by allowing ourselves to move forward. We don't have to wait for those we love to decide to change as well. Sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to grow, even though the people we love are not ready to change. We may even need to leave people behind in their dysfunction or suffering because we cannot recover for them. We don't need to suffer with them. It doesn't help. It doesn't help for us to stay stuck just because someone we love is stuck. The potential for helping others is far greater when we detach, work on ourselves, and stop trying to force others to change with us. Changing ourselves, allowing ourselves to grow while others seek their own path is how we have the most beneficial impact on people we love. We're accountable for ourselves. They're accountable for themselves. We let them go and let ourselves grow. Prayer for today. Today, I will affirm that it is my right to grow and change, even though someone I love may not be growing and changing alongside of me. Amen. This makes me think about the first time I went to treatment was 2003, and it's because the heat was turned up and I probably didn't have much else to do, but it quieted the noise of you and my parents, and it made me look good. And I think I was serious, like I wanted to not be stuck where I was. And then the second time, it was a lot more drastic and a lot deeper of a hole. And I remember saying that, well, I'll go, but you have to change too, and you're just as sick as I remember. Like, well, I'll do this, but you have to do something too. You need therapy. We need, and it was almost like a manipulation thing of like, if you really want to be together, I'm gonna get so much better, and you're not, so you better go to treatment too. And I remember thinking, I've heard it many times in the last 14 years, and I'm like, wow, that person's saying that. Like, that's what I said. I think it's an addictive thing of like, well, if you're not going to do anything, then, well, I won't either.
Yeah, it's a deflection.
And it's not like you could go to rehab. You have a kid and a house, and like, and so, but in my mind, it's a deflection, and I'm pouring my issue on you, and if you don't do this, then, well, I probably won't either. And so it's very manipulative. Ugh. It's a horrible but I like, yeah, moving forward. Moving forward, there are people that
However,
aren't going to be in a relationship
that
with.
being said, one of the things that I remember most clearly about the second time that you went to rehab is that you learned things, and then you called and told me about them. And then you did things, and then you called and told me about it. Like, not right away, but it wasn't even like you called on a regular basis. You called to talk to the kids, you called to talk to me, and I wasn't like really sure if we were going to be getting back together or not, but you would just tell me what you were learning, and everything was so brand new to you, and you were really excited like about what you were learning, and you never told me things it was never in a like it didn't
look how healthy I
yeah
it wasn't like that.
no.
It was just excitement.
You were like you were mind blown every time, like the things that the people at the treatment program were telling you, like you never knew these things, and so you'd call and you'd tell me about them. And then you called one time and you said, I've been going to this church, would you bring the kids with me? And I was like, what do you mean you've been going to church? Yeah, I've been going to church. How long have you been going to church for? Well, like since I got here. Why am I just finding about this now? Like, and it was almost like then I was like, well, he's just doing things. Like, you never promised anything, you just did them. And I think that was most significant for me, because there were several of those examples of just like, I'm doing this thing, and here's what I learned there.
I was doing it for me.
Yeah, you were doing it for you
to get
and
healthy.
You weren't like, you never told me you were going to do it. You just did it, and I would find out about it later. And so I thought that was a really interesting. I think that was the most curious thing to me, and probably like very significant in our like getting back together decision of, no, I'm gonna know, like if he stops doing all these things and
it's
those
obvious,
behaviors change, it's gonna be super obvious that he's headed down the wrong road again. But right now he's making all these decisions and he's doing all these things, and like I actually felt like I was left behind. I actually felt like, and I felt crazy. I mean, I really was at many points in time.
I brought you to the church, and then we did the course that I took together. We did Alpha together, and I took it twice in a row.
You took it twice in a row because you wanted me to come.
I was trying to catch you up.
And then we went to like a marriage course at the hotel, remember? And it was so overwhelming.
They give you all the things to do. There was like a list of 25 things. That's overwhelming.
We are literally just trying not to kill each other.
Now that I look back at it, it was so behavioral.
But we were literally just trying. But it was really helpful. I mean, we came out of that with no TV Tuesdays and Thursdays, which created new patterns for us.
And I remember back in treatment of me like learning and understanding, and I'm talking to you, and you're like, oh, I wish I could go to rehab. And I'm like, it's so, like, no one would want this in their life. And then now I look back of the responsibility of life, and I'm like, man, that was a good 6 month break. Who doesn't want to go to rehab anymore? And like running a rehab, I look at these guys, it's so hard. I'm like, if you stay sober, this is going to be the easiest time. Enjoy this time.
When you came home, that was hard.
And I remember, though, being so awestruck because I had this problem and it controlled me. And I want to be in control of my life. And I remember near the end, I had absolutely no control. I would say words out of my mouth, and I didn't believe them. Like, I'll be home later, or I'm just going to go to the bank. And I remember going into the bank, cashing a check, knowing that I had these payments, and 3 days later, I'm in a motel. And I'm like, how did that? I don't remember making decisions, but that's the confusion about addiction. People think that I have a choice. I don't have the choice. And so as they're teaching me in rehab, I'm just like, you guys are all the same as me. Like, oh, I thought like I'm absolutely like I'm gonna live out of a mentally ill hospital for the rest of my life. But you're telling me like I'm normal.
And I think that's the hard thing, like when you in this reading, when so we have people in our lives that we actually really do care about. We really do care about this person, and yet these behaviors, and sometimes we divide them and just dismiss these behaviors over here and just kind of focus on the good and ignore the bad, but then the bad or the stuff that's really hard to live with grows and grows and grows, and the good is harder and harder to find or see or experience. And it's really, really challenging when you know this person is actually a good person deep down, and I've seen their good side and I know who they can be. How do I disconnect from them? How do I detach from them? Like, and then I feel like this horrible person because I'm leaving you behind, or I'm rejecting you, or as a parent, they're like, I can't just put my kid out on the street, like. And so I think that it's a really, really challenging.
Is it like the concept of the airplane going down, you got to put on your own mask, or the ship's going down, you got to put on your own life vessel to help other? Because it says it doesn't help to get stuck with other people that we love. So we get better to help other people. So, but there are some people that don't want help. And there's some people that we are going to have to break away from.
Are we actually disrespecting someone when we are like insisting and trying to pull them along and pull them and insist that they do things differently when they don't want to?
Because you're just trying to control them. And then
I just talked to a woman the other day who, because I often talk to women and once or twice, and she was like, my husband does not want to stop drinking. Like, he absolutely does not want to stop drinking. And I'm like, you're beating your head against a brick wall when your life mission is to convince someone who doesn't want to stop drinking that they need to stop drinking.
So then she would probably be in a codependent relationship, and she needs to get better for her to help him.
But what does that look like?
And
so that's where it just gets so tricky.
Go to a coda meeting.
And I told her,
talk to Vicky.
I said, you have a relationship with your higher power, and you need to ask your higher
power. The best
power.
thing for us was you leaving and separating, and I was all by myself, and I couldn't take care of myself.
That was a safety issue, though.
We have to go. You did that for me. That was done for me when everybody took their hands off me. I wasn't able to run my own life at any functional level, and I was too weak to hit the streets. Hey!
We should talk about that again sometime.
All right, gotta go. All right, have a good afternoon. It's Thursday.
I have a lot to do.
You have a lot to do.
I gotta go.
All right, I got sermon prep. I got nothing else.